Queensland, beautiful one day, perfect the next. One problem, their constitution. In 1921, the upper house was removed by Edward Theodore, which was the Premier, better known as Red Ted. As usual, the Labour Party, they consider the constitution as their enemy and they will do anything to change it. Bob Whitlam, for him the Queen of Australia, Bodgie Queen. Bob Hoke, he for him local government, which is nothing more than a part of the state parliament. So anyway, have a look at this video, which is put together by some really smart people, and come to your own conclusion. But apart from that, Queensland, I love you.
We're going to talk first of all about the Constitution of Queensland, and I notice here it's 2001, and it's Act number 80 of 2001, and that's the Queensland Government logo there. Why is that the Constitution of 2001?
Well, Premier Beattie and the Queensland Labor government decided to modernise the Constitution, okay? So they put forward the Constitution. They also had a commission on changes that they wanted to put into the Constitution, and within all this, the power of referendum from the people was totally vetoed.
Okay, can you show us in here what you're referring to?
Well, basically, if we come back right at the beginning, the object of this Act and Constitution is, as this Act declares, consolidates and modernises the Constitution of Queensland. Note, however, this Act does not consolidate the following constitutional provisions because of the special additional procedures, including approval by the majority of electors at a referendum that may be required. In other words, the referendum concept has no longer been included in the Constitution. Yet, a change to the Constitution previously required that it be a referendum. So therefore, how can this legally be the Constitution of Queensland if the people of Queensland under the previous Constitution did not approve it?
They didn't approve it.
Okay, however, the real question is, why was this applauded by both houses of Parliament?
When it wasn't
by
given.
Both sides of the House.
Right.
The opposition as well as the government.
And the people had no idea what was going on.
Well,
look at how sneaky this was done. And beautifully presented, very clever. And that was done by Premier Beattie. Now this is, I'm going to read to you from Hansard, 9th of November 2001, and it starts on page 3715. He goes, Mr. Speaker, I move that this bill be now read a second time. Not one bill for the Constitution, bills, plural. Now they've done something here that you didn't know and they didn't ask you. I move that the bill be read for a second time. Today is a historic day for Queensland. It represents a significant milestone of which this Parliament can be rightly proud, he says. It is with pleasure that I introduce the Constitution of 2001. What has happened to our Constitution right up before 2001? You weren't told what they did. I wasn't told. There was no referendum and they didn't ask you to do anything.
So what they basically do is they sneak off to the printer at night, write it out again and say to Parliament, gee, isn't it a wonderful day? Look at our new Constitution.
They've done a little bit better than that. Apart from getting an Act through Parliament would give them a right to reprint. Yes, they got the Act through Parliament to reprint. But they didn't get the Act through Parliament to make changes without a referendum, without asking the people, and without telling the people. They did not get that right. Now, here it says, but he says here, this is Beattie speaking, but this Act is much more, he says. It is fundamental law of Queensland that underpins our system of government. The only thing that underpins the system of government was the Magna Carta. That's what we had. And the laws of the Magna Carta gave you and I the legal rights to our land, to our property. They've all gone. That's been taken away in this Act of these governments. He says here, this is talking about the new Constitution, the entities it provides for, look what it does, it's not just the people, it includes this Parliament, the Supreme Court, the district courts of the state, and the system of local government. Now this has only come about because of Agenda 21, the New World Order. He says that we now in Queensland, the office holders under this Act include the Governor. The Governor's supposed to be with the Queen of Queensland, the Governor of Queensland. The Ministers of the Crown and the judges in the judiciary, the Supreme Court, the district courts, they were to be separate from, a separate power, separate from the Legislative Council. They're no longer separate. Now what does this mean to the local bloke? You and me in the street? This means that they can make a law tonight to change whatever they want, and in the morning when you get out of bed, there's a law that you were acting on yesterday that's no longer a law acting on you yesterday. In the old system, it would have taken 6 weeks, 7 weeks, it might have taken 3 months, even a year to get laws changed. Not anymore. With this total power, the same as what Hitler had, they can make a law tonight, it's enacted tomorrow morning, and you don't even know they did it and they didn't ask you. That's the difference of what we are under now.
So even if you were the mayor, you'd have no...
And I'm glad you asked that question, because the way they've done it, with total power, the CEO of the state government of Queensland is have total power over the judges, over the magistrates, over the police, over the mayor of a town, over the elected councillors, over everything they do. The CEO now has total corporate power over everything in our lives.
Then what's the point of having council elections if we don't have any powers anyway? What's going on?
You're quite right, because as a matter of fact, that is why the councillors here on the Gold Coast said to me the other day, they said, if we don't do as we're told, we can get the sack. Could you believe that? We elect these people to go in and to do what we want, but that's not the way it's happening now. The people that we elected to do what we want are now doing not only what the state government wants, but what the Agenda 21 New World Order has told them.
Everyone's just become a mouthpiece.
That's right. And everybody is now a puppet under this total power, and that's what it's done to our way of life. We are on the brink of losing our way of life. We're on the brink of losing our state, everything that we've ever fought.